You don't really have to think too much to see that there's plenty of similarities between the concepts of pirates and Yakuza. Both are criminal groups populated mostly by men who often swear loyalty to a captain. So it makes a lot of sense that one of the most outrageously surreal JRPG franchises, formerly known to English audiences as Yakuza, would eventually put its own spin on the seafaring life. Spin is the right word too, as this title follows in the footsteps of Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, to be a spin-off title rather than a main installment. This high seas adventure, which is officially titled Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, launched for PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC on the 21st of February 2025. Set after the events of 2024's Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, this game puts the focus on series veteran Goro Majima. Majima fits the pirate stereotype quite well, without any major changes to his existing character. He's already an eye patch wearing maniac before he sets foot on the ship, and his Yakuza brawling skills make him right at home in Hawaii's hostile waters. The game begins with our protagonist washing up on an island without his memories, and through a series of overly dramatic and contrived events, he becomes captain of his own pirate crew and goes in search of a hidden treasure, which I did almost expect to be called the Two Piece, as a reference to the series' suit-wearing history and a comment on a well-known manga/anime. This game features elements and themes from the most recent Like a Dragon game, Infinite Wealth, including the setting of Hawaii, and you will visit and see individuals that were introduced in that game. It's not unfair to say that there's a lot of content from Infinite Wealth that's been reused or just lightly tweaked for this purpose. However, you don't need to have much familiarity with that game, or indeed this series as a whole, if you are just looking for a pirate-themed adventure. The story is very simple in premise, but pushes the dramatic license of its setting to the fullest, in typical Like a Dragon style. In comparison to the aforementioned Gaiden, this is slightly longer, with around a 25-hour narrative that does feel longer due to the side activities that you'll inevitably be drawn to. Majima's personality is one of the only things that doesn't feel out of place in the prologue, and that's because his character is well established in prior games and is aesthetically pirate-esque. The cliché amnesia plot didn't fill me with a great deal of hope to begin with. That feeling continues for the first hour or so of the game, which took some time to find its sea legs. But when you finally drop anchor for good, this spin-off title keeps its ship from running aground, with interesting characters and enough twists to make it worth sticking around for. One of the key focal points of the narrative is the relationship between Noah, the boy who saves Majima, and his father and siblings. Jason, Noah's father, is a former treasure hunter who took his family to a secluded island, and is reluctantly prodded into helping Majima's pirate endeavour. While Noah's character had a lot of potential to be an annoying and cloying child, he actually comes off quite well. In a good display of contrast, he's actually the most level-headed of the main cast, who are an otherwise ragtag group of miscreants and battle-loving maniacs. Which does bring me rather nicely onto combat. The primary activity of the adventure, like in any Like a Dragon game, is fighting, whether that be battles on the high seas or in the streets. And for this, the series returns to the action-oriented brawler nature of the older games. This makes melee combat frenetic and fast, with combos and heat actions very much at the fore. Majima gets two combat styles, the first being his signature Mad Dog, which focuses on a mix of hand-to-hand brawling and aggressive knife slashing. His secondary style, appropriately named Sea Dog, features pistols and dual cutlasses, just in case you missed every other indicator of the pirate theme prior to that. This new Sea Dog style plays similarly to Like a Dragon Ishin's Wild Dancer. This is to say it mixes firearms and blades and has some overly dramatic flourishing attacks that serve more aesthetic purposes than functional ones. It's a style designed for flair and wide-reaching AoE attacks, but doesn't feel out of place within the theming. This is much faster and easier to combo than combat in Gaiden was, which is this game's closest modern point of comparison. While there's no way to chain attacks into switching styles and keep combos going, both Mad Dog and Sea Dog keep pace well and feature some of the series' impressive heat actions, with the usual unrealistic, yet entertaining, takedowns. Jumping and a small dose of aerial combat have been added here too. While playing as either style, this helps extend combos that would otherwise have been short and repetitive. And there's a more natural feel in combining light and heavy attacks together. Jumping outside of these combos is awkward though. This is mapped to the same button as sprint, so there are times where you want to move quickly around the battlefield and you find yourself in the air, and vice versa. Like Gaiden, which featured a hedonism-themed boat housing a coliseum to brawl out in, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii takes a similar approach, with Majima and his crew taking on ship-to-ship combat with guns and cannons out in the waters and in the pirate cove of Madlantis. This location features prominently in the story, and includes places to gamble, drink, and battle against other ships and crews. For a pirate-themed game, the naval combat is quite simple. Do not go into this expecting a deep ship system or something akin to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. This is still a Like a Dragon game, and the ship and its crew are more of a squad management game, with the captain's quarters filled with opportunities to party and raise morale. Naval combat is fun, despite its simplicity, and you can outfit your ships with cannons, machine guns, and lasers should you wish. The ships and crews you fight in the Colosseum approach the overt ridiculousness of anime, with each having a unique theme. Upgrading your guns and getting a clean broadside shot on your foes is very satisfying, but the ship-to-ship combat relies heavily on the RPG decisions you make prior to engaging, such as the crew you recruit and their stats. This means that to be the best pirate you can, you've got to get your recruiting cap on. This feeds into the game's progression, which locks crew members, in particular better crew members, behind side activities or sub-stories, this game's side quests. This presents enough of a progression ladder to climb that you can make Majima and his crew very powerful, even if a lot of the underlying systems behind this are recycled from previous games. I've said before, and I will say again, the genius of the Like a Dragon games is taking the seriousness of a Yakuza enforcer and clashing that with the mundane everyday side activities that cast the protagonist in a role that walks the tenuously thin line between hilarious and ridiculous. Returning for this installment are the staples, like karaoke and playing classic Sega arcade games, but this title also returns Dragon Kart from Yakuza Like a Dragon and Crazy Delivery from Infinite Wealth, among a few others you might recognise. There's not really one big side activity here. This is something Gaiden did too, but the closest thing to it would be a series of sub-stories that sees Majima reprise his harem building skills from Yakuza 0. It turns out that your ship's chef, Masaru, has a thing for Minato girls, which seem to be a specific stereotype of Japanese women. Majima sets out to recruit some, and these are told via a mix of in-engine and recorded footage, with the quest's finale and tone seeming to be what I hope was an attempt to put on a production like TV's The Bachelor. I was prepared for this because I played Gaiden, but it's still very jarring to see these live-action dating interactions. They feel very forced and awkward, and are incredibly immersion-breaking. And I don't say that lightly, as it's an insane sentence to write and then say in a game where you play as an eye patch wearing psychopath with amnesia who becomes the captain of a pirate ship. This tone shift once again feels cringeworthy. Even though I thought there was supposed to be comedic intent here, some of it really didn't land well. On a more objective line of criticism, this also feels very off-brand for the game's theme, which was helping with immersion up until this point. The characters you interact with prior to the live-action parts were unique, struggling individuals. While they weren't very pirate-esque, they all showed heart and desire that made me want to recruit them to join the ship's crew. Their real-world versions feel very distant from that. Whether this is just a culture thing where my sense of humour doesn't mesh well with what I assume is intended to be comical interactions, I can't really say. But I do believe this would have been better had the live action component been scrapped entirely. Moving on, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii's technical showing is fine in terms of raw performance, which holds at 60 FPS throughout. The game also follows Gaiden's lead in having only moderate GPU demands, with the 6GB RTX 2060 the recommended card. Graphically, this is solid but not impressive. There are some strong elements, such as facial detailing for Majima, but the vast majority of the side characters feel like PS4 era models at best. On PC, with everything dialed hard to the right, there are a few standout aspects, and the addition of all three major types of upscaling is appreciated. But in general, this looks and feels like it came out in 2020 rather than 2025. On another technical note, there were some noticeable issues early on, in particular the game's brightness. In a lot of areas, this is aggressive, especially when you get close to the beaches and out of the shade. I do expect this will get dialed back in a patch, as it makes properly balancing brightness at the start of the game difficult to do. Unlike Gaiden, this game launched with an English audio track, which is a strong plus, even if I did play the main story with subtitles and the Japanese audio. This track, the Japanese one, isn't without its flaws though, as occasionally you'll just hear snippets of the English audio, like when purchasing from this vendor.
Looks great. Thanks for the meal.
Thank you very much.
In this example, you can clearly hear Matt Mercer, who is Majima's English voice actor's voice. When it's an NPC, it makes sense that you'd hear incidental English, but when it's supposed to be Majima speaking, it's quite the shock to the system to hear what he says. I'm a fan of the Like a Dragon games, and I love this pirate-themed adventure. If you're a die-hard fan of the franchise and spent a lot of time with Infinite Wealth, there's a chance that you are sick of Honolulu, and feel like a lot of this is regurgitated content. That's a valid argument, and at times I did feel that too. However, this game's combat is fun. Its crew building mechanic does a good job satisfying my progression itch, and playing as one of the series' best characters in Majima is always welcome. I think where this game will shine is in getting those outside of the usual Yakuza and Like a Dragon fanbase to jump on board, as the pirate theme is great for doing that. This has a good mix of accessible and crazy all mixed together, and it's rolled up into a compact treasure hunt that features enough likeable characters to keep it afloat. This game is likely to get lost in a February that will be dominated by Monster Hunter Wilds, but make no mistake, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is a damn good pirate adventure.